Hello. Good evening or good afternoon, everybody. Have you had a good day? Yes, yes, okay. I know it's a hard hour, okay? After we ate, we saw a few sessions, I know, have you had fun? Yes, yes, I want to hear you. Yes, yes. Yes? Yes. Okay, yes, yes, good, good. So we're going to continue having fun in the next hour and a half, and then everyone decides for himself if they want or not having fun more. So anyway, welcome to the Chrome Developer Tools Deep Dive session. My name is Shay Friedman. I am a consultant and a trainer in a company named Code Value. And I do web development most of the time. In the last 3 years, I am doing mainly AngularJS. And I'm going to talk to you about Chrome Developer Tools today. And I'll explain to you why in a second. Now, you guys, how many here are web developers? Makes sense. How many here use Chrome Developer Tools? Okay, Firebug, Internet Explorer Developer Tools. Oh, wow, okay. Okay. I'll talk at the end. Maybe I'll say what I think about the comparison between the dev tools of the different browsers. But we're here to talk about Chrome Developer Tools. Now, just the motivation for this session. Chrome Developer Tools is an awesome tool. And a lot of people don't really know it, because what we usually do, we just use it. Like, we know we need to debug something, we need to change something, so everybody just uses the obvious things that you can find very, very quickly in Chrome Developer Tools. However, Chrome Developer Tools is a much bigger thing, and it has a lot of functionality that most of it is hidden, mainly because they are not very good at user experience in that section of Google. But this is what I want to tell you today about all the hidden stuff, the things that you don't really see and can save you a few seconds every time, maybe a minute, maybe an hour. And think about it, if you add up all these seconds that you save, at the end of the year, you saved, I don't know, a week. Think what you can do with another week. You can go snowboarding, have a vacation with your family, meet your friend vodka, or your friend whiskey, or stuff like that. I'm not an alcoholic. I can quit whenever I want, really. And this is water. It's not anything else. Anyway. What I think, just again, Chrome Developer Tools is something that is not really where we work. We have IDEs of our own. However, this is something that, everybody wants to be a master of what you're doing, right? And in my opinion, if you want to be a master of what you're doing, you need to be a master in every single thing in the environment that you're working in. So for example, when you're doing front end, you need to know very, very well HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which is a lot, by the way, just that. But then you need to master your IDE, of course. I don't know what you're using, but the IDE that you have chosen. And of course, your debugging tool. And your debugging tool here is the development tools that, for this session, is Chrome Developer Tools. So what I want you to go out with from here is the beginning of you becoming the master of Chrome Developer Tools. And then you can save all this time because you're masters, and then maybe get a raise, and then you have more money at the end of the year and more time at the end of the year. You can go to, I don't know, Zanzibar or something like that. That's good as well, with your friend, vodka. Anyway, as you can see, there are no slides. It's all demos. And what we're going to do today, we have this wonderful application, The Simpsons. who doesn't like The Simpsons, right? So what we can do, we just add Simpson people, and we can just work with them, and we can throw them to the garbage, of course, like we do in The Simpsons, and we are having fun. This is, I'm going to sell this if anyone want to buy it. Come to me afterwards. I'll give you a discount just for DevWeek attendees. Okay, so but I charge in pounds. Okay, a lot of pounds, a lot of yeah. Anyway, so this is what we're going to work with, and we're going to see and experience different things about the Chrome developer tools here. So let's begin. Let's add Homer. And Homer had a bad night last night. He ate some mushrooms, not the good ones. And something happened. And what we need to do, we need to fix him because he's not well. By the way, I forgot, all of these Simpson characters are CSS only, which is really cool. There is this guy, I can't remember his name, but he's done this as an open source project. You can download the code and use it in your favorite applications. So it's really nice, and they even blink for once in a while. CSS only, no JavaScript, really cool. Anyway, so we have Homer. So we open the developer tools, F12, and we usually go here. And now what we want to do, we want to find Homer because we want to fix him. Now usually what you're going to do, you're going to click here and do inspect element or stuff like that. I say I know what I'm looking for, so I'm already here. Let's do this. So what I can do is just Control F, and then this search box comes up. Now usually what you do, you write text there. But the problem with writing text here is that you will find also just pure text, and you're usually not looking for just text. You're looking for some kind of an element. So what I know that each and every character has a character CSS class. So I want to look for CSS classes named characters. And what people don't know is that in the search box, you can write CSS selectors. So dot character will bring me character. You need to know how to type first, by the way, but that's OK. Now we have two of those. You see one of two. And we can just click Enter and go through them. So now we have Homer. We found Homer. And of course, I know that there is something wrong with his eyes, so I want to fix the eyes. So let's add, I know that the name is left eye or red eye, or right eye. So here we go. Let's see, this is the right eye, you see. And now we want to fix the color. So usually what you're going to do with the colors, let's select that. You're going to look here, and usually there's a lot going on here. And when I see people do this, they come to this view, and they do this, and they're like, oh, I didn't find it. Oh, I didn't find it again. And it's like, what the, see this? Find in styles? I know it's hidden. It's like, it's there, but no one sees it. OK, so let me do this. It's just there, and it says find in styles. No one ever sees it, but it says find in styles. So what it does, you just write what you're looking for. So let's say background, because this is what we're looking for. And you can see right away, you don't need to do this all the time, because it just says, OK, you see it right there. So you don't need to go through and find it over and over again. And this is a problem, of course. So now I want to change it. So now let's change it to, I don't know, blue, right? Much better. Now, this is interesting because colors in the DevTools are surprising. Why? So just like, because what everybody does, they go here and they click and then change what you want, right? However, just like Thor, you know, Thor has his hammer that gives him superpowers. And Popeye has his spinach that gives him superpowers. Then in DevTools, colors have this little box that gives them superpowers. And what are the superpowers? If you come here and click Shift and click it, you change the representation of the color, which is really cool, because now you can flick between them and choose the right one or use whatever that you like. However, this doesn't end there. And when I found out about the next thing, I was like, where were you all my life, right? So take a deep breath, and click it. Just click it. Oh my God. Amazing. Color picker. And we can just change and pick the color, and you can see right away how it looks like. And so now Homer has blue eyes, and now he has red eyes. And when you are satisfied, just click outside the box, and that's it. You can continue and live your life, right? This is so cool. So this is colors, and this is just that. And I can tell you how many times I look for color picker on the internet, and to find a color picker, pick the color, and then go back here. So ever since, I have more time with my friend. But now calling the police. Listen, there's this guy here he's not okay. Another thing that, again, what we usually do, if we want to hide something on the page, what we usually do, we'll pick the element that we want to hide, go here, let's do this, wait, here, go here, and add something like display none, just so we, oh, interesting. So this is nice, but you know, I had to type, and I had to type like, I don't know, 12, 15 characters. You know how much time that takes? So I don't want to do this, because what I can do, I just click on the element that I want to hide, click age, and it's gone. And I click age again, and it's back. Okay, so and it happens all the time. You just need to see how things react. Just hide it, and it's out. So yeah, another cool thing. Another thing. Let's see that. Let's remove this, cancel, and remove this as well. Sometimes we want to change the way things look like when we hover over them. But it's a problem changing the style here when we hover on something, because we cannot do that. So what we can do, let's pick Bart. Let's do inspect element. By the way, there is this thing here. You can click and go up the HTML hierarchy. So now we chose Bart. So then we can right-click here and do force element state and say hover. And what happens now is that Bart is in hover state. And then we can go here and see, oh, okay, this is the hover definition for CSS. Let's change that. So rotate is obviously not enough. So let's add skew x with, I don't know, 50 degrees. Oh, that's much better. So it's like, ugh. Yes. This is how I like my Simpsons. Again, force element, hover to remove it, and then you can see it right away taking place. You can also do this from here. This is this little thingy here. Click on it, and then you can just check and uncheck them and see what happens. So again, small things make a big difference when you add them up. Okay. Let's continue. So this is the elements tab. And of course, we have much more tabs. So let's do this. What I have here, I need to, when I double click this, I don't know what happened, but when I double click it, it should rotate. Okay, it should do a full circle, and it doesn't. So I have a problem. So what I do, let's open the sources tab. So the sources tab, let's close this. This is how it looks like. Now, something a lot of people do when they come here, they have this open, right? So they, and usually when we are in a big project, we have a lot of JavaScript files, a lot of CSS, a lot of HTML. So what you see is people going like, where is my, I know the name of the JavaScript file, but let's, where is it, where is it? And you know what happens? They need to have glasses afterwards because they're always like, where is it, where is it? So I want to prevent it from you. And this is, again, something everybody misses, everybody, and it's amazing because it actually says, hit Control-P to open a file. And I haven't seen this until I did this session. And in the middle of the session, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it actually says that. Cool. So it actually says hit Control-P. So hit Control-P to find the file. So I know that what I need is character, named character. So character.js, enter, and I'm in the file. Now again, files like in JavaScript tend to be big. And I want to find a method inside this JavaScript file. So just like Control-P, I can do Control-Shift-P to find a function inside this file. So let's say it's something about double click. So I have on double click, handle double click. So let's see what, probably this is the problem. So I have this animate here. Let's go to the code for a second, for the, to here. This is the same code. It's okay. And this is where we were. Now, in a lot of the time, you're working, you're writing JavaScript, and then you say, I want to put a breakpoint here. So what you usually do, you go to the Chrome Developer Tools, find the function, and then put a breakpoint. But you don't have to do that. What you can also do, just when you're here, debugger, save it, and then go back here. Let's refresh, and pick an Ichi, for example. And let's double click, and boom, we have a breakpoint because it's right there, right? So this is a cool thing. So now let's, what's that? I have cords coming out of me. Let's go in and figure out what's going on here. So I have a $set timeout, which is coming from outside, and probably this doesn't work because the toggle class is there. So I can look here, and it says dummy set timeout. Not good. Sounds bad. So I can click here and see where it's defined. And OK, this is a dummy set timeout only for testing. Now, I gotta admit that I made this thing in production one time. Put test debug implementation and uploaded it. And it was not a pleasant thing because people actually saw not real data. And it was something about fire alarms. So they thought the fire alarm is actually taking place. Real story. Yeah. Anyway, it does happen. It didn't happen ever since, by the way, but you know, never say never. Anyway, so what happened in here is that I have this set timeout here in the self-executing function, which is holding everything inside. So here is what I'm passing it, and this is the problem, right? I have this dummy set timeout, and it doesn't need to be dummy set timeout. It needs to be windows.setTimeout. So let's change that. Window.setTimeout. And we should be fine, right? So now, if we take Lisa, for example, and click it, we have the debugger, of course, but...
Why do you want to use debugger text instead of putting the breakpoint then?
Putting the breakpoint? Yeah. Maybe if there are a few use cases for that. If you're inside the code and you figure out, I want a breakpoint here, so instead of going back to the dev tools and go back and do all this flipping, you can just write debugger. This is one thing. Another thing, there are times that you write one-liners in JavaScript, and then it's hard to put a breakpoint in the dev tools because you don't know where you are. So this, you just write debugger before the actual execution statement that you want to debug. So these are probably the two use cases for that. Okay, so we fixed this, and she's doing this dance. Now, what I want to show you more, let's continue here. And so we are in debug, and let's say we want to change something, and we want to see something happening. So what I can do, I can actually just change it. Okay, so let's say I want to do console.log animating. I can hit Control S, okay, and you cannot see it really, but the breakout changed, and there is this icon there. And if you go to the console, then it tells live edit failed, which is great. This is when it goes wrong. So if you see this, what you change doesn't really work. So you need to go back, and this doesn't work now. So what I found out actually, the debugger, when you do debugger, it doesn't work. So you do need to put a real breakpoint. So let's do that. Remove this. And if we put a real breakpoint now, let's add Krusty and click it. Then now if we write this, console.log animating and Control S, when you go here to the console, you see recompilation and update succeeded. Only when you see this, you know that now you're working with the code, the real code, and not still the old code, right? So every time you do this, just check that it's really have been compiled. And now we're here, and we changed the code, and we can just continue doing everything that we did. And you can see that now in the console it says animating, right? And every time I click it, it actually just changes here because it's the same one after another. So it's cool. So we can actually change things here. Now, let's say I change something, and I change a lot of places because most of the time you fix CSS classes, you fix JavaScript, and then you say, okay, it's fine. And then what you do, you go back and figure out, wait, I change it here. So I go to the file and change it. I change it here, and I go back to the file and change it. And it's a long process. What you can actually do, right-click somewhere here, and there is this thing, local modifications. Click it, and then you see this thing here. And it tells you what you change. If we change the CSS as well as stuff, you will see everything here. So you can see the JavaScript file, and it tells you what you change. You added this. If you change something, you removed something or something like that, you would see both of them. You would see what you removed and what's the new line. You can revert these changes and see what's happening. All of this just from here. So you can just look here, and if you want, you can just look here and then change your real files, you can also go to the file, right-click, and save as. When you save as, you can just save this file to your file system. So you change it, you worked on it, you say, okay, this is good, save as to where your files belong, and just go there. So this is really nice. And it saves a lot of time because this is just the ifty work that you need to do because where I change it, I didn't change it, and you forget changes that you've done, and then you need to rechange it. And then you don't have enough time to do.
Sorry, how did you get the history tabs?
Right-click in the file, local modification. Okay. Let me show you some more stuff about the console, because the console has a lot of stuff in it, and it's awesome. It's a real time saver, So let's do this. So I'm in animating, right? And I want to say animating, and let's say plus plus this, right? This is the character, right? And it has display name and ID and stuff like that. So let's save it and run this. And if we go to the console, now it says, let me do this 1 second. Let's do this again. Okay. So what we see now is not good because it says animate an object, which doesn't tell us a lot. You know, object is nice, but I don't know. I'm not familiar with any object. Are you? So what I want to do is actually see the object. So instead of plus here, I can just do comma and put this here. And let's do this again. And now, it says animating and gives me the entire object. And I can go in it and look at everything and understand what's going on. And it's the instance there, and it helps a lot putting the entire object, because then you can investigate it after that. Stop circling. Okay. So another cool thing. Yeah, let's do this. No. Another cool thing. Sometimes we want the log statements to stand out, right? And they're usually just black, and we want to make them nicer. So what we can do, there is this hidden feature. You just write %C, which means this should have a CSS definition. And then right after that, you say the definition. You give it the actual style. So you can say color blue, font size 20 px. And let's run this. And ta-da! Now, when I see this, a lot of people say, "Oh, wow, that's cool. I can now put important messages and make them stand out." And the rest of the people say, "Oh, shit, my log is gonna look like an amusement park." And yes, but it makes your day more fun, right? So, a lot of colors, a lot of font sizes, it's fun. So, it's up to you to decide if it's good or not. Okay, another thing that we usually need is counting how many times a method or something has been called. And what we usually would do, we would put some global variable, and then every time just increase it by 1 and write to the log. We don't need to do that, because what we can do, we can use the console for that. So let's do this again, and we are here. So let's say we want to count all the double clicks. So let's do console.count double click. Okay, this is the name, and save. And now let's remove this. Okay, and let's run this. So we run this once, and let's run it a few times. And now, if we go here, it says, you see double-click 1, double-click 2, double-click 3. Saved us like, I don't know, 5 seconds. But again, they add up, and you know what happens then, who we're going to meet. So this is display count, console count. 3 more things about the console. Let's go to here. I want to open site.js because it holds site.js holds all the characters, okay, as an array. So let's add here. Stop. Okay. Let's add Maggie. Yeah, Maggie is good. So now we are here. Let's add Maggie. So we have 2 characters, and most of the time, what you do, you click here on the characters, and then you want to see everything. So you click here, and then you click in there, and it just never stops. What you can do instead, let's go to the console. Do console.table, and say characters. And what it gives you a table of all the items, and each item has an index and everything that it has. Now, this is very cool because it saves a lot of clicking, but it can save you even more clicking because here it's kind of, I don't know, I don't need this. I cannot understand anything and it doesn't help me. So I just want ID and display name. So console.table can also take an array of columns. So I can say ID, display name, and then I get just what I want. I can see it right away and go ahead with my life. Another thing, let's quit that. Now if I go to the console and add a few Simpsons, I can't even see anything because I write a lot of logs. And I actually had a project like this that we had a problem. They said, well, let's look at the console log. And there was like a gazillion lines of logs. And they're like, OK, so we actually invested time writing these logs, but now we cannot understand anything in these logs. So they worth nothing. So what I say, write logs. It's OK to write logs. However, keep them in groups. Now, this is something, again, that the console supports. So I'm going here. Where is it? Here. So we have this. This is the console adding CSS, getting character. All of this is written. Let's put a breakpoint here and add another one. Mr. Burns, yes. So what I can do here is do console.group collapsed, and give it a name. So let's say adding character, and even let's say this dot display name, so I can see which character I'm adding. So this opens a group. I of course need to close the group. So I started here, and let's close the group when I'm done. So console.group end, and save it. And now what we see here, so let's do this again, Homer, okay? So now we have this, right? We can see it like this, and every single time that we add a new character, we can see it like that, and then the logs make much more sense. Another thing about the console, something again that we need all the time. We need to calculate the time that it took to do something. What do you do then? You go create a global variable, save the date and time when you started, and when you want to figure out how long it took when the action actually ends, you subtract the current time, the start time from the current time, and then show the milliseconds. This is very nice. But if you don't need to write all this code, so why? So the console actually gives you that. Again, the console is a great source of saving times and spending more time on funner things. So let's do this. Let's put breakpoint. Okay, so we are here again. Instead of doing the saving the global variables and stuff, just console.time, give it a name, add in character. And when you want to finish this, so it's here, let's do it before, console.time end, give it the same name. This is important because it knows how to end the time that you started with the same name. Let's save this and run. So let's remove this. But now, in the console, you can see it said add in character, and it took more than a second. It took more than a second because it had the breakpoint, and I needed to click. But if we add another one, then you will see it right away. So it says it took 20 milliseconds. Okay, so again, very, very fast. You don't need to think about how you subtract dates, how you get the milliseconds. It's just there.
So you have to give the same name for the
the same name for the start, so for time, and for time end, because you can have multiple times, multiple timers, so with different names. Last but not least, about that, it's actually not a real Chrome Developer Tools thing, it's just a thing. How many of you write applications that are localized, need to run in different languages? Good for you, good for you. Most of you don't need to have this thing. I wrote last month a website, a project for a client, and we had 7 different languages, I think. And it's fun because there are right-to-left languages and left-to-right languages and big languages and small languages, and it's very, very fun. I like localization so much. You can sense, right? But what we figured out is that more than localization, more than we hate localization, we hate designers. Why? Because when designers give you the design and tell you, well, implement that, everything looks so perfect. It just fits perfectly, and it looks nice, and everything is great, and you know, everything is pink and unicorns and stuff. But then you go and implement that, and then you figure out the data has a mind of its own, right? It has bigger, longer texts. It has different languages. And we figured out, by the way, that Russian, I don't know if there are Russians, no, nothing because of you, it's Russian. Everything that is in English, something like that, in Russian it's something like that. I have no idea why, but this is why. Something. It wasn't fun. And what we figure out, we can do a trick to kind of, test our design implementation before we have the data, before we have even mock data. We can just test it right away. How do we do it? What I want actually is change what is written here, because I want to see what happens when this is in Russian or when it is very long and stuff like that. So what I can do, I can go to the console, do document.body.content.editable. This is something that is actually part of the HTML5 specification, but it exists for ages, in even IE8. So it's there. Equals true. And what it does, now everything on my site, now I only have this, but everything is editable. So I can go here, just click, and start writing, and see what happens. And here I don't really care. Maybe if I had a customer that pays tons of money, I would care. But right now, no. But this is about how it looks in Russian. Are there any Russians here? Sorry in advance. Now you can see if it actually works, and figure out, and then play with it, and fix it, and continue on. Of course, to stop this, just go back here and put, instead of true, put false, and you're back in business. Last but not least, about the sources. So something to do all the time. We have jQuery, we have AngularJS, we have all these frameworks. And I really recommend you to go through their code just to understand what's going on there. However, when I write applications, I couldn't care less of the code of jQuery or Angular or whatever. I care about my code and what it is causing and where is my bug. So all the time when I put a breakpoint, let's say I put a breakpoint here, I get the call stack, and the call stack has all these jQuery, Angular, whatever, calling my code, calling back their code, my code, their code. And it's really hard to see where is my code and what it does. So I don't really care about jQuery or stuff like that. So here in my list here, I can go, and here I have jQuery, can right-click on it and say black box script. And what this means, it just means do not show me this file in the call stack. So let's click it. And now, it's animate, so we're here. Let's see the call stack, so you can see 2 stack frames are hidden. Good. This is just my code. I don't need to see jQuery stuff and stuff like that because I couldn't care less. So again, small things, because now I don't need to look for stuff. I just can click, see what I need immediately. Saves you time, gives you more time to do what you love. Okay, good. So let's stop here. Now, the next thing I want to show you, we're done with the sources tab, is the settings. Now, my recommendation, every time that you start to work with a new IDE, new application, new developer tools, new whatever, go to the settings. First of all, go to the settings. Go and see what you can change, what you have. Maybe you'll figure out things. And here is no exception. Go to the settings. First and foremost, for each web developer ever, open the settings and make sure this is checked. What does this mean? Disable cache while DevTools is open. I stopped counting how many hours I spent on fixing bugs, and then I go back to the Chrome, my browser, refresh, try, and the bug is still there. And I say, what? And open the DevTools and see, oh, it's not refreshed. It's still cached. Let's clean the cache. Let's do that. And this is the good scenario. The bad scenario is, oh, it's still not fixed. I'm going back and figure out maybe I need to fix another thing, but I already fixed it. And I think I spent at least a week or two of my life doing stuff again and again because the file was cached. So click it, and it will save you 2 weeks of your life. You know how much that is? So click it, and every time you refresh, when the website is up and DevTools is up, the cache, everything that is cached will not be cached, and you will have more time. and you will be, you won't become mental and stuff like that. Another cool thing, again, go through everything here. There's a lot of stuff. However, another recommendation, go down here, and the first thing, click Shows Timestamps on the console. Now, what that does is, in the console now, there is timestamps. Good? Very nice. Just click it, let it be, and you will see the timestamps all the time, which is nice. And actually, I've never seen this. This is a bug. Or maybe we're back in time. Interesting. Never seen that before. But usually it's okay. Usually it's okay. Interesting. Anyway, so click it. Another thing about cache and stuff like that, it's not actually related to the settings, but we were talking about cache. When you do F5, even if this checkbox is indeed checked, I don't know about you, but I always feel that something is still cached. It's not me that is being wrong and writing bugs. It's the browser, right? It's always the browser. It's never me. I'm perfect, by the way. I would be glad to give you signatures after that. Anyway, what I was talking about, okay. I was caught up in the moment. When DevTools is open, you can now go to the refresh button. And let's do this. Let's prepare for it. And again, prepare. Breathe deeply. And click and hold. Wow. Cool, right? Now, when I do normal reload, it's still caching. It uses cache. When I do hard reload, and now I know that even if I do F5 or whatever, I click here and it's hard reloading the page. Okay? And if I still sometimes I'm still a bit paranoid, so I say, okay, hard reload will still cache something, empty cache and hard reload. This is what I like, and I click it all the time, even when I don't need to. And this is it. And now I can do this, and again, it clears the cache, it's doing everything, and you can be sure that the cache is out and you are good to go, and the bugs is because of you and not the browser. Yes?
In that instance, if you do a Control F5, I'm guessing it won't enter the cache.
Control F5 should do hard reload, but images are still cached and stuff like that. So this is good for removing all the cache, which is good. And again, even when I do Control F5, I still feel something that should not be cached is still cached. So when I see it's telling me hard reload, I feel safer. But yeah, Control F5 should definitely do the same thing. Or Control Shift R does the same thing. Control F5 and Control Shift FR. Okay. Another thing about the settings. Yes, yes. It sounds like you were trying to ask a question, but from the computer. Another cool thing in Chrome, there is this Experiments tab, and it usually things that they are still working on, and they're not sure about if it's working or not. So it's like, it even says this experiment could be dangerous. Oh yes, I like dangerous. And something. Okay, we cannot read anymore, so they're just dangerous. Probably and can kill you or something like that. And this is exactly what I like. So click everything, check it, everything. No, I'm kidding. See it. Some of these should be okay. The coolest thing here is this. Now, I like my IDEs dark. You know why? Because dark is cool. And when my IDEs are cool, I'm cool. So I have to have dark IDEs. So when I click Allow Custom UI Themes, I can actually download custom UIs for Chrome or create my own, because it's all CSS, by the way. And what I did, because I checked it, I need to close the developer tools and open. And this is how it looks like when I'm not presenting. It's just an theme that I downloaded, and it looks like this, and it's really cool, and it's dark. I feel cool and mysterious, and I can do stuff better. But it's hard to see with projectors, so this is why I don't use it when I'm doing these presentations. But just click it. It works fine for me, and it's really, really nice because you feel it just feels more like an IDE. And it's almost a full-blown IDE. It will get there. I'm pretty sure in the next month or year, you will get a full-blown IDE with source control and everything from here, and you will not need anything else. But right now, it's still on the edge of becoming this. And these custom UI themes, they're just another step in the way. OK, another thing now. Let's close this. Another thing is the device emulation. A lot of the time, we need to write responsive websites. And we want to check how these websites look like on the actual phones. There is this thingy here, up here, and you can click it. And it looks like a device. And when you click it, it adds this thing. And by the way, it's black not because of my custom UI theme. It's just black because Google think it's cool as well. So it's just black. And then you can choose a device, right? So let's choose, I don't know, iPhone 6. Yeah, iPhone 6 is good. Let's reload, and this is how it looks like. And you can, oh, shit. Wait. And you can click it and see that everything actually works. Whoa, it's very small. By the way, double click doesn't work. I have a bug. It's a browser fault, it's not me. But double click, this is the thing here. It's cool because you can also see how it looks like, but what it does now, it emulates touch. So in phones, you cannot double click. It doesn't work. So this is why I cannot use double click here. And actually, when I was preparing for this talk and I tried to move them, it didn't work. I needed to do extra work in order for this to work with touch events. So again, this emulator is very nice. It's still not the real thing. Okay, you will have to also test it on real devices. But it gets you as close as it can. Another thing that a lot of people miss here, and it's not because you just can't see it, it's just because it says device emulator, and you say, OK, it emulates devices. But it also can emulate network. So you can see here, and this is very, very important. Because, for example, I can say I am on a GPRS network. I have no idea what still runs on GPRS, maybe fax machines or something. But it's 50 kilobytes per second, which is what I had, I think, in 1999 when Napster was around. It took me to download. I never download illegally, of course, but downloading songs was like 3 days, one song. So this is GPRS. And if you want to feel this way, to be in 1999 again, just click it and refresh. And then you find out it's still refreshing, by the way. Still refreshing. You can see he's looking like, really? OK. And see, there is a slightly bit of a problem with the background. I don't think people with GPRS connection would appreciate my site. It just stopped. Yeah, so there is a problem. And you can spot it right away. And of course, GPRS, I don't know how many of you need to spot GPRS, but the cool thing here is you can, for example, 3G, you want to see how phones will see this site. So this is 3G now. It's better. It's still not good because this picture is about 1 or 1.5 megabytes. This is why it takes so long. So I need to fix this. And also, you can see how your site works in offline mode. And you don't need to cut your network code or cord or disable your network adapter and stuff like that. Just go emulate offline, and that's it. Another thing, it's funny because you cannot see it here, but if you go somewhere here, click escape. Okay, so it opens this thing from the bottom, and there is this tab here called emulation. And here you can also say which model you want, which screen resolution, and there is more to that. So you can just go through all of this and figure out what you need or what you want to do. You can say emulate geolocation coordinates, stuff like that, and it's really, really helpful when you're writing application that should work in a specific way on mobile phones. Okay, let's continue. So this is the device emulation. If you want to stop the device emulation, just click this friend here again, and you're good. Now, let's. I want to talk about the network tab, and for this I need a real site. So let's talk about DevWeek site, and let's open the here. Let's let's open it in its own. Let's refresh. Now, the network side is the network tab is something that usually you look at it and you say, nice, and never look again. And it actually contains a lot of data that might be very important. So first of all, these lines here, there are 2 lines. The blue line say document.ready was executed. The red line says all the images and iframes finished loading. So when you see a big difference, you understand that maybe your images are too large. Maybe maybe it's okay. Maybe you don't care that images will load after everything has been loaded already. But this tells you that there is something. Usually, it shouldn't be that wide. I will talk to the DevWeek people, and we'll fix that. But it usually don't need to be that wide. That's the first thing. Another thing is you see here on the header, there is this interesting column headers that name size, and then there is in slight grayish color named content, and then time and latency. And also, you can see that all of these values have 2 lines. Why? So you can see here, this is the actual time that it took. This is how much time from this time it was network latency. So to get this JPEG, half of the time went on waiting for the network to react. If this is something that you see a lot in your server and go into the server and you feel the site is sluggish, and you have, for example, in really, really heavy load websites, you might see, and if they're not scaling right, you might see like a huge latency, like 1 second, 2 seconds, and then like 2 milliseconds sending back the data. And this is when you know you need to scale. You need more servers, you need better servers, you need better network, whatever. But you need to do something because this is why your site is sluggish. So this is the first thing. Second thing is this thing. So we have, you see that they slightly change. These are all images, right? Okay, here, this is good. So you can see this is 35 bytes and 441. It's like, I don't know, almost 10 times bigger. So what is it? This means that we are gzipping our data, our files. So if you open this tab open your website and you see all of the sizes the same size, you can improve the site performance by a lot in a second. So it might be good, I know, because then you come to the boss and say, everything works perfect. And he's like, oh, good, I give you a raise. You can go to the Bahamas or Zanzibar or what I told you before, I don't know, with your friend, of course. Now, what is gzip? Gzip is just the servers can take your files, gzip them, send them as a zipped file, and then the browser takes that and open it, unzip it, and show it to the user. And it takes milliseconds for the browsers to do that and for the server. And what it does is that it sends everything to the user much, much faster, because you need to send much smaller files. So instead of 400 bytes, well, it's bytes, but you get the idea, you send only 35 bytes. Actually, the rest here, let's find another thing like this. Maybe we should do something about the DevWeek website. No, okay. This is okay. This is I can see it, but you see CSS. Yeah, CSS, right? So they are doing something. You see, 25 kilobytes was transferred, and 146 kilobytes is the actual size. Yes, so this is the latency and gzip, and yes. Regarding the gzipping images and stuff like that, it's a debate. Some people say you need to gzip your images. Some say you don't need to gzip your images. I can't tell. Test yourself. Test it for yourself. Just go gzip your images. See if the site still works as expected, and it doesn't become more time. It doesn't give the browser more time to unzip your images. So just check it. Just check because if it does work, it might be worth doing that. Okay, some more things. People actually don't realize you can click here and order that. Okay, people don't realize it's actually grid. Okay, so you can do that. You can right-click, and then you have all of these columns, and you can actually add or remove columns from this list. So another thing a small thing that you can do, just right-click on the header. Another thing, there is this icon here. You can click it and then filter your data, so you can see only the document or only the style sheets. Another thing, you can hold Control and click on a few of them and then choose them together. Okay, so that you can see just what you're interested in. If you're using WebSockets, you can click here and see all the WebSockets that's going on in all the WebSocket connections that are going on in your website, and see what's going in this connection, because usually you just see a connection and then you don't know what's going on in that because it's a WebSocket connection. You can click here and see all the WebSocket connection, click on the connection, and then you can see everything that goes down this line. Okay. Last thing here, and it's a major thing, because when I figured out you can do that, it actually changed the way I work. Not entirely, but a small bit. You can do this. Go and right-click and click on Save as AJR with Content. Click it, and then save it somewhere. So let's say devweek.ajr, and save. Now, if we open that, here, this is how it looks like. Okay, very convenient. Of course, I see, oh, here is the problem. No, it doesn't happen. But it has like 5,000, almost 6,000 lines. Okay, that's okay. What I told my QA people, every time you have a problem, it doesn't matter what it is, the site is sluggish, something happens, something doesn't work, whatever, you do right-click, you go to the DevTools, right-click, save as AJR, and put it inside the bug. Now, what I can do when I take this AJR, let's go back here, I can go and download or go to this website. Just look for AJR viewers. This is just a website. If you look for AJR viewer in Google, you'll get to this. Then I take my file, put it here, and voila, I get the network tab. That was when the bug happened. And I can see everything, and I can click on everything and see what's happening, and the cookies, and everything that went on. And if I had an error in some of the calls, I can see the error. I can see exactly what I could see in the network tab in real time. I can save it and then load it and then see it afterwards. And this helps in figuring out the worst bugs that you have, because what are the worst bugs? The non-reproducible bugs, right? Every time I have a bug and I can't reproduce it, I go to the QA and tell them, well, reproduce it. And then when the QA can't reproduce it, I feel like I won, right? I'm like, yeah, I made a bug and no one can reproduce it. Oh, yes. But apart from that, I also kind of afraid, right? Because you know who is going to reproduce your bug, your non-reproducible bug. Your biggest and most important client. And they're going to reproduce your bug over and over again. True story. And so I do want to fix these unreproducible bugs. And usually, unreproducible bugs, they happen because a few things align with each other to make these unreproducible bugs. And they usually align in the QA that you cannot stand or in your biggest client. So this really can help understanding these bugs, and because you can see all the exceptions, all the errors that happen in real time, but you can see it afterwards and understand and maybe fix these unreproducible bugs. And the feeling of fixing unreproducible bugs is even better than the, yes, no one can understand, no one can reproduce the bug, I'm free. So yeah, no. Okay, so this is the network tab. Let's go back to our Simpsons, to our Simpson application. Let's refresh. Let's talk about memory leaks. Some people think that JavaScript, because it has a garbage collector, so JavaScript doesn't have memory leaks. But in fact, JavaScript is probably the language with the biggest amount of memory leaks ever, because it's so easy to make a memory leak, to create a memory leak. And I'll show you that, because I'm good at creating memory leaks. But before we figure out what is the memory leaks, let's figure out if we have a memory leak. So for that, let's see this. We have the timeline part, right? And the timeline allows you to understand if there are problems. So let's start doing something. And when when you're capturing events in the timeline, you want to find the event that you want to, find the action that you want to figure out if it's leaking memory, and then repeat it a few times. So let's start recording, and click on adding a character and remove it. Now don't do it once, do it a few times. So let's add another one and remove it. And let's add another one and remove it. And another one, crazy Homer, and remove it. And this is probably enough. Now, before you stop the recording, go here. There is this collect garbage icon. Click on it. And click on it a few times, okay? Like, a few times, like, feel safe, because I don't know, it works, it doesn't work. Click it a few times, then a few more times. Okay, I think it's okay. Maybe a bit more, and that's it. And then stop. And now it's retrieving events, and it has all this stuff here. But what I'm actually the most popular memory leak in JavaScript is HTML node leaks, and we'll show you what it is in a second. But in order to figure out if there is something like that, remove everything from here and leave only the nodes. Okay, this means how many HTML nodes are now in memory. And what happens, you can see, we started up, 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 and this is the garbage collector. This is only where it went. It should have gone here, right, back here. So when you see this staircase pattern, you know you're in trouble, okay? And this is actually a problem, because if you have a single page application that you do not, the users do not refresh and they live in this page, the page will just collect memory more and more and more and we'll need more memory, and eventually it will just crash. So Chrome will crash, or whatever browser that you're using will crash. And I had 1 month and a half, something like that, with a project with a client. We had a huge project. It took 40 developers 2 years creating this AngularJS project. And then when we were in the end of the version, we had performance problems, of course, like any big application. So me and another guy spent a month and a half fixing these problems. And this is something that I know very well. I saw this a lot. And this means that you're not good, because in this project that I was talking about, if you left the application open for the night and you went back in the morning, if it hadn't crashed already, it would take about 3 to 4 gigabytes of memory, just this tab. Yeah, we coded very well. We're good. So why does this happen? If we go to the code, let's close this. I have, in the side, I have the character array. Every time I add a new character, I add it, I push it to the array. Now the character array, each item in the character array has an element property. Okay, the character stores the element that it displays inside it. So we have a characters array with all the characters, and each and every character has the element that it shows. Now, when we remove it, what we do, we say character remove element. And when we remove the element, let me show you this here. Remove element, I say this.element.remove. What does that do? That actually takes it out from the HTML DOM. But what it doesn't do, it doesn't destroy the element. The element is still in memory, but it doesn't matter. It's just there. It's not on the page. It will never be on the page again, and we don't really need that. And this is something, this is the most popular memory leak, because you save the element, and sometimes you maybe you have like a closure, JavaScript closure, that you didn't really realize that you're saving a pointer to this element. And it happens a lot with jQuery. It happens a lot like this. When you remove elements, but they're still in memory. And you still reference them somewhere in your application, and they never go away. Now, if you want to understand why does this happen, okay, you can also do the profiling. So profile, you can do as well. Let's refresh it, and I'll show you how you figure out that the problem is that you have HTML elements that are leaking. So you start fresh and do take snapshot. Take heap snapshot, take snapshot. Took the snapshot, good. Then you add another one, remove it, and take another snapshot. Good. Add another one, remove it, take another snapshot. And now, if we open it like this, what we can do, we can say, don't show the summary, show comparison. And compare it to snapshot 1. So I'm comparing snapshot 3 and snapshot 1. And you can see that there is more in the memory now. Now, this is very complex. It's not fun. It's not easy. But sometimes you have to go through this profiling data in order to find memory leaks. If you look here, these won't get you anywhere. Everything that with these parentheses, they won't get you far. But when you see HTML div element, this is interesting. Because when you open it and you see red, this means that you have a detached HTML element in your memory. What it means that the HTML element does not exist on the DOM, on the HTML itself, but it does exist in your memory, which is a problem, right? So this is how you see something is wrong. And actually here you can sometimes understand what it looks like. If we open, you can see that it's a class name. This is the actual HTML element, circle, body, eyebrow. You can kind of start to understand what's going on and where is the problem. So going back to fix the problem, when I remove the character, when I remove element, I don't really need the character that I removed, so I can remove it from the array. And if I remove it from the array, the garbage collector will just take it and remove it because the HTML is there, and it will remove the HTML as well. So let's do characters.splice. This is how you remove elements from an array. So, and it's an in-place removal. So it removes the element at the position I, one place. So it just removes this object and saves the array. And now let's refresh. And let's go back to the timeline. Let's remove this and start recording again. And let's add a poo. And let's add a comic book guy. And let's add Mr. Flanders. And last but not least, Maggie. Yes. And go back here. Again, before you click on this on the stop recording, collect garbage. Okay, a few times, just like 2 or 3 times, or 20 or 30, or something like that. And then when you're feeling safe enough, click on stop. And now, ta-da! You can see that I fixed the memory leak, right? It actually works. And you can see we went up, and boom, we went down, which is exactly what I wanted.
When you found the danky HTML, is there a way to search for those rather than you code straight there?
The problem there is that you know that there is this HTML element that is detached. It's somewhere there. You cannot really know where it belongs to. So this is what, you know there is a problem, you know what is the problem, but now you need to figure out. And so performance problems are probably the worst problems that you have because they take much more time than anything else to fix. And it's not fun, and there are no unicorns or stuff like that, but at the end you figure out what the problem is, and you can fix it even in very, very big applications. Now, another thing about performance and stuff like that, you can also go here, click on that, more tools, task manager, okay, and this actually opens the Chrome Task Manager, and you can see all the tabs that you have opened, and also all the extensions. If you have extensions, so you can see all the extensions, and how much memory they take, how much network they take, how much CPUs they take. And it's nice because then you can see if something is really wrong. You don't need the Task Manager of Windows, stuff like that. Just go here and you can see. And you can also right-click to add more columns, so there is more columns to it. And of course, you can also click on one of them or a few, and then click End Process and remove the tab. So it's just another thing to understand if it's okay, if your site is okay or not. So yeah, so this is about what I had. It's let's make them dance. Yeah. So again, we saw a lot of things. We saw the Elements tab. We saw the Sources tab. We saw the Timeline tab. We saw the Profile tab. We saw a lot of things today. And you could see there are small things that will help you save time. There are bigger things that will help you find performance issues and stuff like that. But this is what I wanted to show you. I wanted to make you understand that there is much more to the dev tools than what usually people think. And it's actually becoming more and more of an IDE. They actually have this concept of workspaces that it's not, at least for me, I heard people use it, but at least for me, it's still not there yet. But workspaces mean that you can say, these files are these files on my hard drive, and then you can just work with the folder on your hard drive, change everything, and when you change it on the DevTools and you click Save, it actually saves your actual files. It still didn't really work for me, so it's something there. You can look it up. It's called Workspaces. I actually haven't shown you everything. There is, of course, much more. Everything you can do with the mouse, you can do with the keyboard, which is also something very, very nice. And again, this will allow you to be more productive and save you time and save you some, itchy thing that you need to do, but it usually takes like going there and going back there and going there and going back there and all this context switching. Do it once, save it, use all these tiny things that Chrome has. It's just there. Why not? And again, at the end of the year, you will have more time, and you take more time off and then go do whatever you want, which includes pubs and drinks and stuff like that. So if you want to ask me more questions, you can do it right now or afterwards, or come to me afterwards. I'm still here. You can send me an email, send me a tweet, whatever you like. That's it. I hope you have a wonderful night today and a good day tomorrow. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.